The call that should not have been answered. The sun had not fully risen yet, but the giant glass building of Anderson Global Corp was already glowing with early morning lights. Inside this $1 million office, a man named Malik pushed his cleaning cart slowly across the shiny floor. He wore simple clothes, old shoes, and a name badge that said cleaning staff. Every morning, he was the first one to arrive, long before the managers, long before the secretaries, even before the guards finished their shift change. The building felt huge and empty at this hour, like a sleeping giant. But Malik liked it this way. Silence was kinder than people. As he wiped down a long table in the meeting room, he heard distant footsteps and muffled voices coming from the hallway. They were talking fast, sounding stressed and worried. "They're arriving today, international clients. This deal is huge. If we mess this up, the CEO will lose millions. The foreign partner is very strict. One mistake and the deal ends." Malik paused his wiping. He didn't care much about business deals, but the tone of their voices made him curious. Something big was happening today, something that could decide the future of the whole company. He pushed his cart out of the meeting room and moved toward the CEO's special office. It was a room Malik cleaned carefully every morning. Everything inside was shiny, expensive, and perfect. Malik always cleaned it with extra respect, because this was the place where important decisions were made. As he entered the office, he noticed something unusual. That the CEO's desk phone was ringing. Not a normal ring, an international call ringtone. The screen flashed a foreign number Malik didn't recognize. The phone kept vibrating on the glass desk, ringing non-stop. Malik looked around the office quickly. No one was there. He stepped back. Cleaners were not supposed to touch anything on the CEO's desk. He knew that. Everyone in the building knew that. But the phone rang again, louder this time. He froze in place. Should he ignore it? Should he walk out? His heart beat faster. He whispered to himself, "It's not my job. Someone else will answer." But no one was coming. The hallway was silent again. The phone's screen flashed international incoming call. The ringing echoed in the empty office. Something inside Malik stirred. A strange feeling. A pull. Something telling him this call was not normal. Something important was happening on the other end of this line. He swallowed hard. His hand trembled as the phone rang again. He took one step forward, then another. Then he stopped right in front of the desk. "I shouldn't," he whispered, but the ringing didn't stop. It almost felt urgent, like someone desperately needed someone to answer. Malik reached out slowly and touched the phone. He hesitated for a full second, then he picked it up. "Hello," he said quietly. There was a sudden rush of fast words spoken in a foreign language, a language most people in this building didn't even recognize, but Malik understood it. His eyes widened, and he felt his breath catch in his throat. The voice on the phone was speaking about the deal, and not in a good way. Malik listened carefully, his heart pounding harder with each second. The caller was complaining, angry, confused. Something had gone terribly wrong in the documents the company sent. The caller believed they were being disrespected, and was preparing to cancel the entire deal. A multi-million deal? A deal the CEO had spent months building. A deal the whole company was depending on. Malik's fingers tightened around the phone. He knew this language well. He knew exactly what the caller was saying. And he knew that if this message didn't reach the CEO immediately, everything would fall apart. "So, please calm down," Malik spoke in the same foreign language, with confidence the caller did not expect. The caller paused. Malik continued, "There must be a misunderstanding. I will deliver your message." He tried to sound professional, but he was sweating. He didn't even know if what he was doing was allowed. The call ended with the foreign client saying one final line, "If this is not corrected today, the deal is over." Malik put the phone down slowly. His hands were shaking now. He looked at the empty office. He looked at the giant windows. He looked at the CEO's leather chair. The place of power. Hugh was just a cleaner, a nobody in this building. People barely looked at him. Would anyone even believe him? Would the CEO trust a cleaner's word? Would they accuse him of interfering? Would he lose his job? He had no answer. He stepped back, heart racing, mind spinning, but deep inside, Malik knew one thing. He had just heard something that could save or destroy the billionaire's biggest deal. And he was the only person who knew it. For the first time in his life, Malik stood in the CEO's office not as a cleaner, but as the holder of a secret powerful enough to change everything: his life, the CEO's life, the company's future. Everything now depended on what he chose to do next. The cleaner with a hidden past. Malik stood frozen in the middle of the CEO's office. His heartbeat echoed in his ears. His fingers still felt the warmth of the phone he wasn't supposed to touch. He replayed the foreign caller's words again and again inside his mind. A mistake in the documents. A misunderstanding. A threat to cancel the deal. He swallowed hard. There was no time to waste. The CEO needed to know, but how? Malik imagined himself walking up to Mr. Anderson and saying, "Sir, your whole deal is about to fail because of a mistake I heard on your phone." They would laugh. They would get angry. They would ask why a cleaner was even answering the CEO's phone. He shook his head. Trying to chase away the fear, he left the office quickly and went back to his cleaning cart, pretending he hadn't done anything unusual. But his mind refused to calm down. The building had started to fill with people now. Employees rushed through the halls, carrying folders and coffee cups. Everyone looked busy and stressed. It was a big day for them. The big deal day. But only Malik knew how close the deal was to falling apart as he wiped the elevator doors. Two young employees walked past him talking loudly. "Do you think the CEO is ready? The foreign client is so strict. I heard if anything goes wrong today, the deal is dead. That will ruin the whole quarter." Malik's heart tightened. He wanted to speak up, but the fear was stronger. He pushed his cart toward the storage room, hoping work would distract him. But the moment he stepped inside, memories from his past suddenly flooded his mind. Years ago, Malik was not a cleaner. He was not invisible or unimportant. He had been a translator in another country working long hours, learning different languages to survive. He remembered late nights studying without sleep, doing any job he could find. He remembered helping tourists, workers, businessmen, anyone who needed language help. He wasn't always successful, but he learned, he adapted, he survived. But life changed. A personal tragedy forced him to return home, with no money, no support, and no time to rebuild his old career. He took the first job he could get, a cleaner position. He accepted it quietly. He never complained. He just worked. But deep inside he knew he was capable of more. Today, that hidden part of his life suddenly mattered again. Maybe this is why I learned those languages. The thought surprised him. Someone knocked on the doorframe. Malik looked up to see his supervisor, a man named Daniel, standing there with a coffee mug. "Malik, why are you standing here doing nothing?" Daniel snapped. Malik quickly picked up a mop and said, "Sorry sir, I just stopped talking. We have VIPs arriving today. If anything goes wrong, the CEO will go crazy, so don't touch anything you're not supposed to." Malik felt a sting in his chest. If only he knew. He nodded silently and left. Daniel didn't even say thank you. He never did. Malik returned to cleaning, but his hands were shaking now. His mind was louder than the noise in the building. He looked at every manager rushing by, wondering if he should tell one of them. He saw a group of executives gathered near the conference room. They were talking loudly. "Why hasn't the foreign client confirmed yet?" One woman asked. "I don't know." Another replied. "Their last email was strange." Strange, yes, because the translation was wrong. Malik opened his mouth to speak, but the words got stuck in his throat again. "They won't believe me. I'm just the cleaner." He stepped back, almost bumping into someone. When he turned, his eyes widened. Mr. Anderson, the billionaire CEO, was walking toward him, confident, sharp-eyed. Everyone around him moved out of the way. Workers stood straighter. Assistants rushed to greet him. Malik quickly stepped aside, looking down at the floor. He didn't like attention, especially from powerful people. The CEO's phone was in his assistant's hand. Malik's heart skipped a beat. What if the assistant checked call history? What if he saw the international call? What if he asked who answered it? Malik felt sweat on his forehead. He pushed his cart away quietly, trying to look invisible. His heart pounded harder, like he was carrying a huge secret on his back. He reached the hallway corner and leaned against the wall, taking deep breaths. "I should tell someone," he whispered. "I have to." But the fear returned. No one will trust me." He closed his eyes tightly. The foreign caller's words echoed again. "If this is not corrected today, the deal is over." Malik opened his eyes, full of worry. He looked down at his hands, the same hands that had held the phone. Maybe today was not just another day. Maybe this was the moment life was giving him a chance to be more than a cleaner, a chance to help. But courage didn't come easily. Malik looked around the busy hallway, unsure, scared, torn between fear and responsibility. One thing was clear: if he stayed silent, the billionaire's biggest deal would collapse. And only he could stop it. Blame falls on the cleaner. Malik tried to continue working, but his mind refused to calm down. Every sound, every step in the hallway, every ringing phone reminded him of the dangerous mistake in the CEO's documents. The building felt tense. Employees whispered. Assistants rushed from one office to another. Managers checked their watches again and again. Everyone knew the foreign clients were arriving in just a few hours, but no one knew what Malik knew. As he wiped the stair railings, he overheard two assistants talking. "Why isn't the client confirming the final agreement?" "I don't know. They're acting confused, like someone misinformed them. If the CEO finds out, he'll explode." Malik froze, misunderstanding. "Yes, that's exactly what the caller told me." He felt sick inside. He wanted to shout, "I know what went wrong. I can explain," but fear still chained his voice. He lowered his head and continued cleaning. Suddenly the CEO's assistant, a sharp-tongued woman named Clara, stormed through the hallway. She looked furious. Papers were in her hand, shaking with each fast step. "Everyone, listen," she shouted. "We have a major problem." People stopped. Employees peeked out from offices. Even the security guard turned his head. Malik stood at the back of the crowd, heart pounding. Clara held up the papers. "These documents have translation errors. Serious errors." Gasps filled the hallway. Malik's stomach dropped. Clara continued. "The foreign client says the CEO made a promise he did not make. It changes the entire deal." People murmured in shock. Malik felt his throat close. Clara added, "The mistake seems to come from a call made earlier this morning, a call that was answered by the wrong person." Now Malik's heart raced so fast it hurt. She checked her tablet. Someone in this building answered the CEO's phone. She looked around like a hunter searching for prey. Whoever picked up that call caused this disaster. The entire staff looked terrified. Managers exchanged nervous glances. Assistants whispered in panic. Clara snapped, "Come forward now. This is your last chance before the CEO finds out." Silence. No movement. Not even breathing. Malik felt his legs turn weak. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He sees OULDN single quotes. If he admitted the truth now, he would lose his job. Maybe worse. Clara clenched her teeth. "Fine, if no one speaks, I'll check security footage myself." She turned to leave, but then someone pointed. A voice from the crowd said, "Maybe." The cleaner picked it up. Malik froze. Another voice added, "Yes." He was inside the CEO's office early morning. Heads turned toward him. Dozens of eyes. Heavy judgment. Malik felt exposed, like the whole world was staring at him. Clara marched toward him. "You," she shouted. "Did you answer the phone?" Malik stepped back. Tell me the truth," she barked. Malik opened his mouth, but his voice barely escaped. "Yes." But gasps exploded around him. Clara didn't wait. She snapped her fingers at security. "Take him to the CEO's office immediately." Malik's heart crashed inside his chest. Two guards walked toward him. He whispered, "I didn't mean to." The phone was ringing. And no excuses. Clara shouted, "Do you understand what you've done? You've risked the biggest deal of this company's history." The guards escorted him through the hallway. Everyone watched silently. Some whispered, some judged, some looked disappointed. Malik lowered his eyes, feeling ashamed. "I just wanted to help. Why is everything going wrong?" Facing the CEO, they reached the CEO's office. Inside, Mr. Anderson stood near the window, back turned, staring at the city skyline. He didn't move when Malik entered. The room felt cold, heavy, and dangerous. Clara announced loudly, "Sir, we found him. The cleaner, he answered your call." The CEO finally turned. His face was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that hides a storm. He looked at Malik from head to toe. "So," the CEO said quietly, "you picked up my phone." Malik's legs trembled. "Yes, sir. The phone was ringing and I thought, that is not your job." The CEO said sharply. Malik nodded, eyes lowered. Clara stepped forward. "Sir, because of him, the client misunderstood the documents. This entire deal is falling apart." The CEO didn't blink. He kept staring at Malik. "Do you realize," he asked, voice cold, "that your small mistake might cost this company millions?" Malik felt a wave of panic wash over him. He tried to speak. "So," the caller said, "there was a translation mistake. I only told him what I saw on the file." Clara exploded. "Enough. You had no right to touch the documents." The CEO raised his hand, stopping her. He leaned closer to Malik. "Why?" he asked softly, dangerously. "Did you answer the call?" Malik wanted to speak clearly. He wanted to explain, but fear blocked his voice. Only one sentence came out. "I just wanted to help." The room fell silent. Clara laughed bitterly. "Help? You have ruined everything." The CEO didn't react. He walked to his desk and checked something on his computer. After a long, painful moment, he said, "Until further notice, you are suspended." Malik felt his world collapse. He whispered, "Sir, please, leave," the CEO said without looking at him. "Now." The guards escorted Malik out. His heart felt heavy. His eyes stung. His mind screamed, "I tried to help, and now everything is ruined." But deep inside, he knew something important. The real problem wasn't him. It was the translation error. And if no one fixed it soon, the CEO's entire deal would break, and only Malik knew how to fix it. The cleaner steps forward. Malik walked out of the CEO's office slowly, like someone carrying invisible weight on his shoulders. The entire hallway felt darker, colder, and heavier than before. His heart kept repeating the same painful words. Suspended. Go home. Leave. He tried to breathe, but every breath felt heavy. As he reached the elevator, he heard a few employees whispering that cleaner destroyed the deal. He should have stayed in his place. Why would someone like him touch the CEO's phone? Malik kept his eyes down, pretending he didn't hear anything. Inside the elevator, he finally let out a shaky breath. "Maybe I really made everything worse," he thought. "Maybe I should have stayed silent." But then another thought whispered inside him. "No, I heard the client clearly. The real problem is the wrong translation, and no one knows about it except me." The elevator doors opened. He stepped out, still feeling unsure. He walked toward the exit slowly. But suddenly a voice called from behind, "Malik." He turned around. It was Jonas, an older security guard who always treated Malik kindly. "You're leaving at this time?" Jonas asked, confused. "Yes, I was suspended," Malik said softly. Jonas sighed. "I'm sorry, but listen, whatever happened, I know your heart. You're not someone who causes trouble." Malik nodded, but said nothing. As he reached the main door, Jonas stopped him again. "Malik, you look worried. Is there something else?" Malik hesitated. Then he whispered, "The client, the misunderstanding. It wasn't my fault. The documents are wrong. I heard the mistake on the call. Jonas's eyes widened. You understood the call. Malik nodded slowly. Jonas stepped closer. Then why didn't you tell them clearly? They didn't believe me, Malik said in a broken voice. To them, I am just a cleaner, nothing more. Jonas placed a hand on his shoulder. Then make them believe you. Malik looked up. What do you mean? Go back, Jonas said firmly. Tell the CEO everything. Don't run away. Malik's heart beat faster. He wanted to go back. He wanted to explain. But fear still held him tight. What if they fire me? Malik whispered. Jonas smiled sadly. They already suspended you. What more can they do? But if you stay silent, the company will lose everything and you will blame yourself forever. Malik felt something shift inside him. Courage. Small, quiet, but present. A dangerous decision instead of exiting the building. Malik turned around and walked back inside. He went to the elevator again. Hands trembling but steps determined. He pressed the button for the top floor. The CEO's office. As the elevator climbed, he rehearsed what he wanted to say. Sir, the client is not angry. They are confused. The wrong document was sent. But the elevator stopped on the 10th floor before reaching the top. Clara stepped in. She froze when she saw Malik. Her sharp eyes narrowed in anger. What are you doing here? She demanded. I need to speak to the CEO, Malik said nervously. Clara stepped forward, voice threatening. You have no right to be here anymore. You were suspended. I know, Malik said softly, but I have something important to tell him. She crossed her arms. And what could a cleaner possibly say that matters now? Malik swallowed hard. He forced himself to speak clearly. I understand the client's language, the call, the message. I know what the problem is, and I can fix it. Clara let out a loud, mocking laugh. To fix a multi-million-dollar deal. She shook her head. This is why you cleaners should stay out of business matters. Malik's hands curled into fists, not in anger, but in pain. I just want to help, he repeated calmly. Clara leaned closer and said coldly, step out of the elevator. Now, the elevator door opened to another floor. She stepped aside, waiting for him to leave. But Malik didn't move. Clara's eyes widened. I said step out. Then Malik spoke in a steady voice, surprising even himself. No, I'm going up. Clara's face turned red with fury. You're making a huge mistake, Malik replied quietly. The real mistake was ignoring the truth. The elevator doors closed. Clara shouted from outside. I'll have you banned from this building. But Malik stayed still. He whispered to himself, I'm not afraid anymore. The truth matters. The bold returned. The elevator reached the top floor. Malik stepped out slowly, feeling every heartbeat echo in his ears. His palms were sweating. His legs felt weak, but his heart was stronger than ever. He walked straight toward the CEO's office. New guards blocked his path. Malik lifted his chin and said, I need to speak to Mr. Anderson. It is urgent. The guards shook their heads. You're suspended. Leave. Malik took a deep breath. Please. It's about the client. The mistake is not what they think. I can help fix it. One guard hesitated. Do you really know their language? Malik nodded. Yes, and if I don't tell the CEO what I know, the deal will collapse. The guards exchanged glances. Finally, one said, wait here. He entered the CEO's office. Malik stood outside the door, heart pounding, praying silently. A minute later, the guard returned. Mr. Anderson will see you. Malik's breath caught in his chest. That was it. His moment, his chance to change everything. He walked inside. The CEO turned to face him, expression unreadable. You came back, the CEO said quietly. Malik nodded. Yes, sir, because you need to know the truth. And the room fell silent. A race against time. The CEO's office felt like a courtroom. Mr. Anderson stood behind his desk, arms crossed, eyes fixed on Malik as if studying every detail of him. The room was silent, so silent Malik could hear his own heartbeat. He took a deep breath. Sir, I came back because something is very wrong, and only I know what it is. The CEO didn't react. He simply said, speak. Malik tried to steady his voice. The client, the call. I answered. He did not say he was angry. He said he was confused. Very confused. Clara, who had rushed in moments earlier, threw her hands up angrily. This is nonsense. The cleaner is just trying to save himself. But the CEO raised one hand, silencing her. He looked directly at Malik. What exactly did the caller say? Malik swallowed. He said the new document your team sent. The translation is incorrect. It contains a promise the company never intended to make. The CEO's face changed only slightly, but Malik saw it. A flicker of fear. Clara quickly stepped forward. That's not possible. Our translator is highly experienced. Malik shook his head. Sir, I am sure. The caller repeated the mistake clearly. He said the agreement talks about full production rights, but the original English file offered limited partnership rights. The CEO's eyes widened. That's a completely different meaning. Yes, Malik said softly. And the client thinks you are trying to cheat them. That is why they are hesitating today. Clara stuttered. No, that cannot be. But she suddenly looked pale. The CEO noticed. He turned sharply toward her. Clara, check the latest documents. Clara froze. Sir, I check. The documents, he repeated sternly. She quickly tapped her tablet with shaking fingers. Her face turned white. The CEO's voice hardened. "What did you send?" Clara whispered. "Sir, I might have attached the wrong version. The translator marked her drafts and you sent the wrong document." The CEO shouted. The room shook with the force of his voice. Clara trembled. "I thought the final one was correct." "You thought?" The CEO snapped. "Do you realize what your mistake could cost this company?" Clara lowered her head, speechless. The CEO turned back to Malik. "What else did the caller say?" Malik continued calmly, though his heart was racing. "He said the clients were ready to sign today, but now they will not sign anything until they get a clear explanation." The CEO placed both hands on his desk, leaning forward. "And how do you know all this?" Malik lifted his head. "Because I understand their language. I lived abroad for many years. I learned it while working small jobs in different countries." The CEO stared at him, processing the information. "And yet," the CEO said slowly, "you are here, working as a cleaner." Malik nodded. "Life changed. I had to return home. This job was the only one I found." There was a long silence, a heavy one. Then the CEO exhaled sharply. "So, you are telling me that my entire deal is collapsing because of a translation mistake made by my own team, and you are the only person in this building who actually understands the client?" Malik nodded once. "Yes, sir." Clara tried to interrupt. "Sir, we don't need him. We can call the translator." "No," the CEO snapped. "We already lost the client's trust. If what Malik says is true, we need immediate communication." Now he turned to Malik. "Can you speak to them again?" Malik's heart jumped. "Yes, sir, I can." The CEO grabbed his phone. "Then stay right here. If they call again, you answer immediately." Malik stepped closer to the desk, nervous but determined. The CEO checked his watch. "They should be contacting us any minute." The room fell silent again, tense, anxious. Malik wiped his palms on his shirt. His breath shook. This moment would decide everything. "If I am wrong, I will be humiliated again. If I am right, I can save everything." The CEO walked back and forth. Clara stood frozen in the corner, scared of the consequences of her mistake. Malik waited near the desk, eyes on the phone. Then suddenly the phone rang, a loud, sharp sound. "Everyone, TENSED." The CEO pointed at Malik. "Answer it." Malik picked up the phone with trembling hands. "Hello," he said in the foreign language. A voice spoke quickly on the other end, confused, urgent. Malik listened carefully. Then he responded fluently, explaining the mistake politely, apologizing on behalf of the company, and assuring them a corrected document would be sent immediately. The CEO watched every word, every expression. Finally, Malik nodded at the phone and said, "Yes, sir, I understand. Thank you." He ended the call slowly. The CEO stepped forward. "What did he say?" Malik took a breath. He said, "They are willing to continue the meeting, but they want a face-to-face explanation today, and they want you to bring someone who speaks their language so there is no more misunderstanding." The CEO stared at Malik. "He said quietly, "They want you." Malik's eyes widened. "Me, yes," the CEO said firmly. "You just saved this deal." The truth behind the cleaner. The room was still. The CEO, Mr. Anderson, stood silently after hearing Malik say the client wanted him in the meeting. Clara looked shocked, as if she could not believe someone like Malik was being requested by an international business leader. The CEO finally spoke. "Malik," he said slowly, "sit down. I want to understand everything." Malik hesitated. No one had ever asked him to sit down in the CEO's office before. Cleaners never sat here. They were expected to stand, work quietly, and leave silently. But Malik obeyed and sat. The CEO took the chair opposite him. "Tell me," he said, "how did you learn their language? And why are you working here as a cleaner?" Malik looked down at his hands. His fingers trembled slightly. "It is a long story, sir," he said softly. "I have time," the CEO replied. Clara stood in the corner, listening, her expression confused, like she was seeing Malik for the first time. Malik's past. Malik took a deep breath. "Many years ago," he began, "I worked abroad. I was young and had big dreams. I thought I could make a better life for my family." The CEO's expression softened a little. "Go on." "I had no money, no big education," Malik continued. "So I worked small jobs. Construction, delivery, factory work, anything I could find. In every country I went to, I learned their language, not because I wanted to, but because I had to. Survival." He smiled sadly. "I learned by listening, by talking to workers, by watching TV in their languages. Every job taught me something new." The CEO nodded slowly. "But one day," Malik said, voice lowering, "my mother fell seriously sick. I had to come back home immediately. I used all my savings for her treatment." "What happened then?" the CEO asked gently. Malik's eyes filled with pain. "She passed away a few months later, sir." The room fell silent. The CEO looked down respectfully. Malik took a shaky breath. "After that, life became difficult. I had no job, no money left. Every place I applied rejected me. They said I had no degree, no certificates, nothing to prove my skills." He looked around the office slowly. "Finally, I took the cleaning job here. I thought, maybe this is all I deserve." Clara looked at him. guilt creeping into her eyes. Malik continued quietly, but even then, I never stopped learning. I never stopped listening. I never forgot the languages I learned out there. The CEO was silent for a moment. Then he said, so all this time, you were more skilled than half the people in this building. Malik shook his head. I don't know about that, sir. I only know I tried my best to work hard. The CEO's realization. Anderson leaned back in his chair, thinking deeply. He said slowly, Malik, you were the only person today who did not think about your position. You did not think about money. You did not think about credit. You only thought about doing the right thing. Malik looked surprised. The CEO continued, and when we blamed you, when we suspended you, you still came back to help. That shows character. Malik lowered his eyes. Sir, I didn't come back to look good. I came back because the truth matters. The client was not angry, they were confused, and nobody else understood that. Clara finally spoke, voice soft. Sir, he's right. The CEO turned to her sharply. You caused this mistake, Clara. She nodded, ashamed. Double quotes. Yes, sir, I did. And Malik tried to fix it. I didn't listen to him. I judged him, Malik said quietly. It's okay. But the CEO raised his hand. No, it is not okay. He stood up and walked toward the large window, looking at the busy city below. Then he said, this company is built on trust, and today, a cleaner protected that trust better than my own staff. Clara looked down, embarrassed. Malik sat silently, unsure how to react. A new responsibility. The CEO turned back to Malik. The client wants you in the meeting. Are you confident you can help us explain everything clearly? Malik took a deep breath. Yes, sir, I can do it. The CEO nodded. Double quotes. Good. Then you will join me in the meeting room in 1 hour. I want you beside me the whole time. Clara almost gasped. A cleaner, sitting beside the CEO. Malik felt overwhelmed. But sir, I don't have a suit. I don't look like the CEO interrupted firmly. You don't need a suit. You need your skills, your honesty. That is enough. Malik's eyes warmed with emotion. Thank you, sir. The CEO walked closer and placed a hand on Malik's shoulder. And Malik, he added, after this meeting, your position in this company will change. You are no longer just a cleaner. Malik stared at him, stunned. Sir, what do you mean? We will discuss that after the deal is saved, the CEO said with a small smile. For now, prepare yourself. You're about to take a seat. People spend years trying to reach. Malik felt tears gather in his eyes, but he held them back. All he could say was, I won't disappoint you, sir. And for the first time, the CEO replied, I know you won't. A cleaner who changed everything 1 hour later. The top floor of the building looked completely different. The meeting room was bright, prepared, and filled with tension. Papers were arranged neatly. Laptops glowed. The CEO's team sat nervously, whispering among themselves. Everyone knew this meeting could save or destroy the company. But the most surprising thing in that room was Malik. He sat beside the CEO, or not behind, not near the door beside him, in a chair usually reserved for important advisors. He looked nervous but strong. His hands were cold, but his heart was steady. He kept reminding himself, this is my chance, not for myself, but for the truth. The foreign delegation arrives. The door opened. 3 foreign clients entered, dressed in expensive suits, their faces serious and tight. Their leader, Mr. Hero, placed his briefcase on the table and sat down slowly. Everyone held their breath. The CEO stood and greeted them politely. Thank you for coming, he said. Before we begin, I want to address the misunderstanding that happened earlier. The clients looked at each other with stern expressions. Mr. Hero spoke first in his language at fast, sharp tone that sounded offended. The CEO turned to Malik. Translate, please. Malik nodded and translated every word with calm accuracy. He says, your new document changes the original agreement. He says he does not understand why your company added extra rights. He feels something is not honest. The room felt colder. The CEO swallowed slowly. Then he said, tell him this. Malik looked at him. Tell him this mistake was not intentional. It was a document error, and we take full responsibility. Malik repeated the message clearly, respectfully. The clients listened. Their expressions softened slightly, but still cautious. Mr. Hero replied, speaking quickly again. Malik translated. He wants to know who made the mistake. Everyone turned toward Clara. She looked down at the table, ashamed, but she stood up. I did, she said. It was my fault, not the company's. Malik translated her confession word for word. Mr. Hero nodded slowly, appreciating the honesty. The CEO waited, then said, now tell them something important. Malik leaned forward, listening carefully. Tell them, the CEO said, that the man who communicated with them earlier, the one who explained everything, is this man right here. He placed a hand on Malik's shoulder. Malik's eyes widened. His heart almost stopped. The clients looked at him with surprise. Malik translated the sentence nervously, but clearly Mr. Hero studied him for a long moment. Then he asked Malik a question directly in their language. Are you honest? Did you tell me the truth to protect the deal, or to protect yourself? Malik felt the entire room waiting for his answer. He took a deep breath. I told you the truth, he replied gently. Not because of the deal, not because of myself, but because I respect your language, your culture, and your trust. And misunderstandings should never destroy friendships." The room fell silent. The clients looked at each other. Then, slowly, Mr. Hero's serious expression softened. A small smile appeared. He nodded, and then he said the words everyone had been praying for. "Let us continue the deal." Malik translated, and the room erupted in relief. Deal saved. And a new life begins for the next hour. Malik sat confidently beside the CEO, translating both sides perfectly. Every time a detail got confusing, Malik clarified it smoothly. Every time tension rose, Malik calmed it with respectful language. By the end, the foreign clients stood up and shook hands warmly with the CEO. Mr. Hero even bowed slightly toward Malik, a gesture of deep respect. "You saved this partnership," he said in his language. Malik bowed back, overwhelmed. After they left, applause filled the room. Employees clapped, smiled, and looked at Malik with new eyes. He was no longer invisible. He was no longer just a cleaner. The CEO turned to him. "Malik," he said with pride, "you didn't just save a deal. You saved this company's future." Malik felt his throat tighten with emotion. "I only did what was right, sir." The CEO shook his head. "You did more than right. You showed courage, honesty, skill, heart. That is rare." He stepped closer. "And now, it's time to give you a role that matches who you truly are." Malik looked confused. The CEO smiled. "Starting today, you are promoted to Language and Communication Officer. You will work directly with our international clients. Your salary will increase. Your office will be on this floor, and you will get full training." Malik felt tears in his eyes. He couldn't speak. "Do you accept?" the CEO asked gently. Malik nodded quickly, his voice breaking. "Yes, yes sir, thank you so much." The employees clapped again. Many were smiling. Even Clara walked up to Malik. "I'm sorry for how I treated you," she said softly, "and thank you for saving us." Malik smiled kindly. "It's forgotten." A new beginning. When Malik left the building that evening, the sun was setting. The sky was orange, peaceful, warm. He walked slowly, feeling lighter than ever before. For the first time in many years, he felt respected. He felt valued. He felt seen. He whispered to himself, "Maybe life didn't end the day I became a cleaner. Maybe it was just waiting for me to rise again." His journey was not easy, but he proved one thing: greatness can come from anywhere, even from someone the world ignores. And now, the world would never ignore him again.